Hello, my name's Richard Weeks. I work for a local company here, which I started about 3 years ago, which we'll have in the slides. I did just want to do a talk about me, because I'm sure you've heard lots of people come in and talk about them and all their experiences, so you don't need to hear it from me as well. So I thought I'd talk about releasing games, because of course, you know, as part of courses, you're told to release games, and that's great because that gives you a lot of experience, but there's sort of a difference between when you release a game for fun and when you release a game for money. So this talk is mostly about if you want to release games for money, but it just gives you an idea of maybe things you haven't thought about before. So a little bit of background about me. I've been programming since I was 12. I am one of those archetypal 80s kids that are in their bedroom programming. And I've been working in the games industry for 22 years, still in it, still love it. I've moved through all the languages as hardware got better, so I've pretty much worked on everything. Worked on 30 odd games, tons of different platforms. Worked in-house and remotely, and then after remotely as a contractor, which is where, you all know about that, which is where you work for other people, get paid, do the job, get out. You quite often don't get credits and you never get bonus payments, you just get the money to work on the game. Some of the games I've worked on, quality cannot be assured. Some of them are really good. Public Commando, very highly rated. Some games not so highly rated, MLB for instance. But sort of if you work in the games industry, you're going to work on some rubbish. But often rubbish makes money. MLB made money. Viva Pinata did not. Yeah, Viva Pinata is really highly rated. So Total Monkery I started about 3 years ago because I got tired of contract work. We make manageable indie games, which is the big thing that I try and install into everyone. Don't go making ridiculously big games if you can yet. We focus on interesting game ideas and innovation. We haven't made any match-free puzzle games. We're not making the next Candy Crush because it just won't succeed. 6 employees, part-time MD. We're pretty small, but we're sort of not tiny one man band. 3 programmers, 3 artists, nice and even split, but as you'll find out, you'll have plenty of other jobs to do. We do client work. You'll end up doing client work if you set up. It's just sort of standard. We make technology for ourselves, sometimes sell it to others. Where am I? We're just over there in the marine building. We'll be around Plymouth for a while, hopefully. And we don't hire industry experience. We take on brand new recruits and then train them up. So anyway, that's enough of us. So where do we start? So the whole big thing when you're making games is, what sort of game do you want to make? Why do you want to make that sort of game? I mean, these are sort of the questions that you need to be thinking right at the beginning of when you want to make a game. The other big things that I see are design. How much design do you want to put into this game? Do you want to design the whole game? Do you want to design a bit of the game? How much do you need to actually start? Then after you thought of how you're going to design it, you want to think about who's actually going to work on this. How are you actually going to make it? Who's actually going to make it for you? Is it just going to be yourself? Are you going to work with other people? Because again, that's going to have a knock-on effect with how you're going to make the game. And of course, the big question is, why are you making it? Why do you want to make this game? Obviously, you've got to do it as part of your courses. But outside of this, why do you want to make that game? These are the main ones that I can think of. Experimentation, I'll do that. I come up with game ideas to try ideas out. I just want to experiment with them. Vanity, let's face facts. This is probably the biggest reason why you're making games, because you want to make that game. I'm going to make that game. For fun, game jams, obvious place of this. You do a game jam because it's fun. You work with other people. Client work, you get paid to do it. Boring, but brings some money in. Raise profile, we've done that. We will release on platforms. We'll make no money from it, but it will raise our profile. We'll probably release one of our previous games on the Wii U. We'll make absolutely no money, but we'll get press because of it. So it's sort of a reason to release it. And the main reason is to make money. If you're making games, on the whole, you're either doing it for yourself, for fun, or you want to make money. And you really should know why you're making this game, because it's going to affect everything else that you do. And really don't expect vanity or fun games to make money. They're just not going to. You didn't think enough about why people would want to buy that game. You're doing it for yourself, and that's fine, but just understand that that's where we are at the moment. If you want to make a game for yourself, you can't expect it to make money. So, this slide is all of your development, because that is the easy bit. So you use Unity, Unreal, Marmalade, you all use those, yeah. If you write your own engine, good luck to you. You're mad. Don't do it. It's fine if you want to do something that literally you just couldn't do in any of the engines, but I'd like to actually see something you can do in one of those engines. I mean, you can write your own rendering code on Unity if you want, so it's up to you. So don't write your own engines, because then how are you going to port to different platforms? Use one of the other engines, stick to it, get good at it. You need to build your team or go it alone. How are you going to find people to work with? You're not really going to make a game that can make money if you're just working on your own. You've got to find other people, you've got to find artists, you've got to find musicians, and other people that we'll talk about later. So work out how you're going to build this team. Best way, look at all the people in this room, look at DDC, find other people locally and start speaking to them. Get on Twitter, get some groups, start basically making friends. Make a load of assets for your game, or buy them. We buy them. We bought another asset today. It saves some time. It would have taken me a day and a half to code something, or buy it for $10. So we bought it for $10. It just makes sense. So this comes again as try and think smart about how you want to make your games. Then you put it together, and you're done. And that's it. That's you lot in the bottom corner, all happy because you've made a game. So that's it then. And frankly, if you don't want to make money, it is. That's it. You can get your App Store license, you can release it on the App Store. You're not going to make a penny. At best, you'll make $100, a couple of $100, because no one's going to see it. And that's the big difference now, is visibility has completely changed. Now comes the scary bit. What else do we need to do? There's more than one slide. That's the first page. So, the whole point about these is these are all the things that you might have to do. But you don't have to do all of them. Certain consoles, certain platforms, you don't need to do these. Other consoles, platforms, even app stores, you do. You have no choice. You can't even release on them without looking into it. Language translations. Known fact, if you release a game and it has more languages in it, you will sell more units. There are people in Brazil that will not buy games if they only have English. Brazil is third, fourth highest paying country now for buying games. You want to be there. The last game we released, we actually have Portuguese translations in. They're not Portuguese, European Portuguese, they're Portuguese, Brazilian. Purely because we know we'll sell units there. We don't bother to support any languages where the country won't buy our games. It's sort of crazy, but it makes sense. For instance, we don't support Russian, because we'll not make enough money in Russian to warrant having it translated. Magnets, for instance, per language, £200, £250 per language. Just to give you an idea, when you release on console, you have to have your game in all those languages. If you want to release on console, all your store page information has to be translated into every single language that console supports. For Xbox, that's 22. So we had to support 22 languages for all of our language information. That's a lot of stuff you've got to translate and then handle. QA testing. Do you all do your own QA testing? Yeah? On the whole, that's absolutely fine. Some places won't allow you to do that. If you release your game, they will want to know it's been QA tested by certain companies that are reputable. But on the whole, you've got to consider QA testing. Best way that we found, as some of you might know who have actually been in, like Scott, is we will get QA testing done ourselves. We'll just get you to come into the office, play the games, and then sort of, you help us. We'll either give you some money or buy some beer or something. That's a good way to get QA done. Start to use your friends. Compatibility testing, again, all that is you've all got mobile phones, even iOS. There are seven different screen resolutions now. They've all got different amounts of memory. You've got the horrible thing about the iPod Touch 4, which only has half the amount of memory that it should have. So if your game needs that amount of memory, it will fail instantly. Android, can't even remember. There's at least 50 main variants. So you have compatibility testing, which is where you've got to get your game tested. So if you release a game on Android, there's no guarantee that it will work on all the Android phones, even if you write it under Unity. So you have to basically test. We ran into a problem on our last game where a certain Unity UI feature would not work on about a third of the phones. Quick and easy way of fixing that, took out the feature. But we had to find that problem in the first place. Ratings. You've all seen films, Peggy 18, Peggy this, Peggy that. You have to get ratings required by all consoles. You have to do it, no choice. The fun bit is there isn't just one. There's about 8. So you've got European, you've got American, you've got Australian, you've got Korean, you've got Japanese, you've got Russian, Brazilian, which is dead easy. Half of them you pay for, half of them you don't. The most expensive one we found is Peggy, which is the British one, and for our last game that cost 700 quid, and they did us a deal. It should have been over £1,000, but because it looked like a kid's game, they just went, oh, we probably trust you. If you're doing a game that's got guns in it, they're going to charge you the full amount. Now, here's the fun bit. When we release that game on the PS4, we'll have to get Peggy rated again. They only do it per platform. We also had to get Germany. Germany has its own ratings. Germany will cost you another 300 quid. Germany will also not let any games that have any World War II and it's very dodgy for guns. So you may not even be able to release. There's a lovely caveat. If you release on Xbox, you have to release in Germany. If you don't release in Germany, they don't actually let you release the game. So you can sort of run into problems. But anyway, there are lots of ratings. A lot of them cost money, but there's also a lot of work to do. Insurances, a lot of people don't think about this. So when you release a game, you quite often have to get insurance. What if the game you released had a Donald Duck character in it? For fun. What if Disney then decided to sue you? Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo would get sued with you because they were putting that game up. So you have to actually get insurance to cover this, which is absolutely required. Other insurances are, you take your game to a show. What if somebody trips over a cable and then sues you? You need public liability insurance. There are also insurances you get if you have people in the office testing. We get you to come into the office testing. We have to have insurance just in case you come into our office. That's private liability insurance. It just all adds up. Just all these little things where as soon as you start realising you want to make money out of games, you have to do these. Publishers, to go into certain regions, you have to have a publisher. Japan, Korea, Korea are the main ones really. You can't even release games there if you don't have a publisher, so you've got to find a publisher. PR, you've got to do PR. If you don't do PR, you're not going to sell any units. You can do it yourself, which is absolutely fine if you've got contacts, else you're going to have to pay someone. Just to get PR people to turn up to shows, to get us interviews with journalists, 1,500 quid 2 days. That's EGX, that's standard price. You can get it for less, but obviously the less money you pay tends to be the less sort of quality of PR you're going to get. PR materials. You've got to make promo videos. In some systems they're absolutely required. You release a game on Steam, for instance, you have to have a promo video. It has to be on there. For consoles, again, for consoles it also has their brand logos in it. All stuff that you have to consider. You know, you can't just knock together a video and put it up there. If the video's not good enough quality, people will shy away from it. We actually found that on our Steam page. We were told that our video wasn't good enough, and people were actually looking at the game in a bad light because of it. Social media support. If you're doing a mobile game, you'll probably have a like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter. You're also going to get people complaining about your game when they find bugs. So you're going to have someone that basically sits there on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever else, Steam forums, Xbox forums, and basically is picking up any problems and dealing with them. If you release a game and then instantly people find problems and they bitch about them and you don't fix them, other people will look at your ratings going down and they just won't buy it. I've worked on games where literally it's just sunk. So you have to keep up with the users. So if you look at our Steam, you look at anything else that we do, anybody posts something, we try and post back and get back to them. Post-release support, they're going to be bugs. You're going to have to fix them after they come out. You can't just assume that it will just always work. Page 2. App Store submissions. Who's actually submitted a game to an App Store? Yeah. Paperwork, faff. You think it'd be easy, don't you? And everyone's different. Google's actually dead easy, but Apple's ours. Microsoft require certain things. They have to check that you're not money laundering. So you have to go through all this stuff. It's just lots of paperwork and lots of that, and it costs money. Apple is what, $100? Yeah, Apple's $100, Google's $15. All the rest you have to get status. You've got to register a company. Most stores require you to register a company. I think the App Store is still okay with sole trader, aren't they? But a lot of the other stores now, you have to have a company because they check you for money laundering. I could also talk about VAT registering, but you don't have to. It saves you a bit of money. Features. If you want to get your game selling, company bank account. Featured. You want to get your game featured. You go on. Why do you buy games on iOS, Google? They come up first. On the whole, you'll tend to look at those before you search for stuff. So you want to get featured. So you basically just need to find the people to badger who to actually get your game on the front page. We're specifically going to be releasing our game soon, and one of the reasons why we're releasing on this certain platform is we were told our game, as soon as people switch on the machine, our game will be on that front page for a week, and we'll be the only game that is on that page for a week. God, we're going to do that. Even if we don't sell a huge amount of units, that will get us exposure, so we'll do it. Back-end support. Are you collecting data? Are you hosting games? If you are, it's going to be stored somewhere. It'll be in the cloud somewhere. You'll either be using Amazon S3 or any of the other systems. You've basically got to support it. Microsoft's really good that way. They'll basically give you a ton of free hosting space if you need it using Azure. But in the end, you've still got to support it. What if it goes down? If it goes down, somebody needs to get it up straight away. Porting. If you want to make money, you need to get your game onto every single platform possible. So you need to port it to everything. You think mobile's easy, it's really not. Just to get it to run on all the Android with compatibility is one thing, but to get it to run on that and iOS, you have to support both the different app stores. They are different. There are differences all the time. It gets easier with Unity. They do a lot of the work for you, but there's still differences between them. It's taken us 4 months to get our Xbox port running for our PC game, just because of various problems with Unity. Just quite often, they just won't work properly. The Unity version for the Xbox just does not work properly. If you're working on certain other platforms, Samsung TV, you never know, you might be working on that, it's got some real big problems. Trademarks, if your game is possible, because basically anybody could rip it off, make clones, they could make clone games, they could make cuddly toys, they could make stickers and stuff. It will happen. Look at Mr. Flappy Birds. The game that made the most amount of money from Flappy Birds was a clone, not Flappy Birds. I think he's like number 5 or 6. So people that cloned him made way more money than he did. And development status, last thing I think to say. Basically, you want to release on console, you have to get development status. The best way to do that is to make friends at the console companies. It seems probably out of your realms. It isn't. There are plenty of small indies that have console status. You just gotta, if you decide that's the market you want to go for, then work out how you want to do it. And again, with all this stuff, get in contact with me. I'm happy to tell you anything that we've done and anything that I can help you with these things. And there's more, but that really is the major stuff. You will think of more things. So, costs. With all these things, there are costs. There is a time cost and there is a money cost. If you spend more of your time, you can do it cheaper. If you spend more money, you can get other people to do it, you've got more time. It's balancing up between the two. On the whole, a lot of them, you've got to do both. But for instance, you've got your PR, you could get a company to do all your PR for you, you saved a lot of time. If you don't have that money, you've got to do your own PR, that's going to take a lot of time. We sort of done a mixture of the two. You all heard of publishers, you all know what a publisher is. Yeah? So you've got different types of publishers. You've got publishers that will just give you money to develop the whole game. You've got publishers that will help you out at the end of the game, where you've basically made the game, and they'll just help you that last step to get it onto platforms. You've got publishers that all they'll do is PR, and then this new style publisher, which they won't give you the money, but they'll sort of really help you out. They'll get you your language translations, they'll do all of your testing. Team 17 are a classic one. So the Escapists, Basically, he went to them with a game that he'd written, and he said, well, I want it on all these platforms. They just wrote, we'll do that for you then. So they ported it to all the platforms. They actually had to port his game from Game Maker to Unity. Then they got Unity, released it on all platforms. They take a cut, probably 30%. He gets the rest. Last I heard, it sold 500,000 units. That man's very rich. So it can sort of work out. You have to work out. I can save a lot of time getting other people to do this work for me, but I'm going to have to hand over a percentage. Some people actually want money up front. It's a company we're thinking about dealing with, and they either want money up front or they take a percentage. So it's one of the two. But try to find other ways to get funding. Competitions, grants, we've got both. There's plenty of money out there if you look around, and you guys are in a perfect situation to actually do that. There are lots of people that want to help you out. So again, speak to me, I'll try and put you on the right tracks. Find friends with skills and abuse them. So the music for our first game, Magnets, was done by a local musician who we randomly met at Expo. The music for our second game is a mate of a mate. We pay very little, if not almost nothing, for our music because they're sort of happy to do it. We tell them totally up front this is what happens. But we've got plenty of friends that will test our games and sort of help us out. And really, as much as possible, use guerrilla tactics. You all understand what I mean by guerrilla tactics? Basically, subvert the system. So you got a game, go to a London show, can't afford a stand, get a load of stickers, get a load of badges, put out stickers and badges on desks and tables, stick stuff on the wall. Yeah? Borderline illegal, stick stuff up on walls, so be careful, but find ways that you can get PR done for nothing, or very cheap. You turning up to events, or very small amounts of money. There are sort of things that you can do. I worked at games companies in the 90s where we had little competitions. Who could actually get our game onto TV? 500 quid. I worked out how to get it onto TV and then somebody beat me to it. Really, really annoying. But yeah, basically worked out how we could get our stickers onto breakfast TV. Basically, friends of friends. If you've got any friends that might be able to somehow get a little bit of PR for your game, buy them a couple of drinks or buy them a meal and then see what you can do. You'll be surprised. And you don't have to do it all. Basically, that was all the stuff. If you're not making console, a ton of stuff you don't have to do. If you're not making mobile, a ton of stuff you don't have to do. Don't worry that you have to do all of that. You don't. But you're going to have to do a good portion if you actually want to make any money. The main thing is to make it manageable. If you know you don't have a load of money, don't make a game that's going to cost lots of money to make. Not so much to make, but post-release. If you haven't got PR money, you better find out ways that you can get PR for that game done. Makes sense? So, why don't you make a game that's easier to do PR for? So, don't go doing JRPGs and expect them to sell, because JRPGs just don't sell. They're more vanity games. What we did for our latest game, we looked through the top 500 YouTubers, and we assessed every single one. We looked at what games they play, how many viewers they had, how many hits they get. Here's what we found. First-person horror games are massively undersold. You think there's a lot that isn't compared to the amount of YouTubers that actually play horror games. So guess what? We're making a first-person horror game. VR as well, jumping on that bandwagon. It sounds crazy, but this is what we'll talk about in a minute, that you're not just making this game for yourself, you're making this game to sell. So why would people buy that game? If you do your research, Steam Spy, go to Steam Spy. Basically tells what people are getting. Look at that, look at that, look at the stats of the game, see what people are playing. It changes all the time. I mean, look at 5 years ago, Zynga. All they were doing was releasing those farm games. Those farm games are now out of fashion. People do not play them as much. I'm playing one at the moment, Minions, which is actually very good, but it mixes it up a bit. But on the whole, those are going down, but your Candy Crushes and your Kim Kardashians are doing really, really well. So, if you could get money to do a Kim Kardashian game, you could get a tie-in, or you had an interesting game idea, possibly do that. As well as that, if you're looking for investment, investors are going to want to invest in something they understand. So if you say, I want to do a JRPG, they're just not going to know what you're on about. If you say, well, I'm doing a game like this, you've got a much better chance to get investment, which is exactly what we've done. Target cheap platforms first. We targeted Xbox first because you don't pay for the Xbox. If you can get developer status, they just give you 2 dev kits. Fantastic. If you want to develop on PS4, you get developer status and then they ask you for $3,000. But here's the interesting thing. We showed them our new game, our horror game, and they gave us one for free. We already had developer status, we showed them the game, and went, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, we should talk more about that. 2 weeks later, we had a PS4, it just arrived in the post, randomly, never knew it was coming. Talk to people, you never know what will happen. There have been tons of events where Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo have gone to big shows. If you can get a free stand at a show, go, look at the badges, talk to people, you never know what will happen. You might get some kit out of them, you might get some help. And target your cheaper sales platforms first as well. So obviously with console, you need money to support that, you have to get insurances, blah, 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 blah. We'll do Steam first. Steam's well cheap. Steam's £100 to get your, $100 to get your green light. Then you can just, get your green light game up there. There are lots of techniques to get your game through green light, which I can talk about if you ask me, because obviously we've got a game through. But target those first, don't target the ones where you've got to pay more money. So, quick thing about the game market landscape. You've probably heard of all of these, but basically PC, Mac, Linux. I had a quick search, I found about 100 stores. Those are the major ones there. Mobile, again, those are the major ones. There are huge amounts. Console, actually not as many. That's about it. Set-top boxes and smart TVs. I mean, who's thought about these as platforms you can sell on? It's pretty recent. So we're doing G-Cluster at the moment, which is a French set-top box company. Who's heard of them? No, because they're not in Britain. But that doesn't mean you should release on them. They're huge in France. They sold millions of set-top boxes. They sit on your TVs like a Virgin box or a Skybox, plugs into their ridiculously fast broadband. Here's the cool thing. The games that they play stream. It's like Gakai. Basically, the games get played on a server, it streams the video, and then the controller information gets streamed, updates the video, gets sent down. So what that means is their set-top boxes are incredibly cheap, they have no power, all they can do is decode video fast. They have a big load of racks of servers, which basically have the game running, and then it sends it all off. It'll take us 2 weeks to port our game to get it working on there, because it's just a Windows computer running on server. They've got tens of millions of customers. So of course we're going to do it, and that's the thing, you never know, there's like so much stuff out there and you just got to research it. We found it completely by random. So yeah, we're doing that. Fuse is another one, Samsung is another one. They're spending lots of money. So yeah. Web, Congregate, Chrome, you all know Congregate, Chrome. You can actually make some money on there. You're probably not going to make a lot, but you can. It's also changing a bit more now. You now get specific VR stores, which I didn't put up here because it depends, I don't know what you were doing. But you now got VR stores, it's just selling VR products, so it's changing all the time. Subscription services are the new big thing. Anybody got Xbox Live Gold? Yeah, there you go, you get 4 games a month. So after a while, we'll probably release our games so that you get it on Gold, so you get it for free. And then the way it works, Microsoft give you a percentage of the money that comes in through subscriptions. G-Cluster is a subscription model. Basically, you can either, if they decide to play the game, they can buy a €10 subscription a month, you get a percentage of that. If you actually entice them to buy it, if they didn't have it before, you get more money. So there's all these different ways that you can basically release your game and make money. They all take about 30%, did you all know that? So just to host your game, they will take 30% of your money. So if you sell it for £1, you get 70p. Pretty much standard, nobody does better than that. Itch.io will actually do it for 10% if you want, but you're not going to sell any units. If you're lucky, you'll sell a couple of thousand. Premium, freemium. Do you all know the difference? Yeah? Did you all think freemium was new? It's been going since the 80s. So yeah, so premium, everyone knows. Upfront cost, you just pay for the game, you're done. Been around for 40 odd years, literally 70s, people are selling games. But it's really dropping now. Market share on mobile is massively going down. Do you know the main reason why it's going down? Friggin' Apple. As soon as you get something that's free, why would you pay for it? So the problem is it's a race to the bottom. That's why games have got more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. It's not going to change. There are always going to be people that want games for free. So why would they spend $2.99 on an incredibly good game? But that's just mobile. Console is going up. There are more people paying for games on console than there ever were. The Xbox One has a pretty decent amount of female 40-year-old players in America. Who would have thought? So you can now sell to that market as well. That market didn't exist 5 years ago. It does now. So you can still make money, but you just have to decide what platforms you want to release on. If you don't want to make freemium games and you want to go console, work out how you're going to get console, and then go for that market. Freemium, free to start, which is basically what it really should be called, and then you unlock goods. So do you remember shareware? Anybody remember shareware? Yeah, yeah. So basically the way it worked was you got your floppy disks, you put it in, you've got 3 levels, and it just went, if you like this, send us some money. You sent them some money, you either got an unlock code or they sent you some more disks. Yeah, that's freemium. Exactly the same. Doom was a shareware game, so Doom was a freemium game. But it really is where the big money is. A friend of mine just started a company in London doing freemium games. He raised 1.5 million in a couple of months because he knows what he's doing. He's worked for freemium companies. It was actually in the news recently. The head of Sega has actually just invested in them. You can make lots of money. People, it's hard to invest in premium games. They're a little bit more scared by it. Freemium games can make millions and millions and millions. Premium games, on the whole, won't. Just a couple of little things. So think about your budget. Do you actually know how much your game's going to cost to make? When you're doing your projects, do you actually cost them in any way? No. Okay, so basically, it's sort of this simple. How much money you got in your bank account? How much money it costs for you to eat and live every month? That divided by that is how many months you can go. That's it. You add to it how much money you could earn in that period of time. Yeah? Use Excel, work out how long you can survive. I need a musician, it's going to cost 500. The amount of money comes down. So start looking at, here's my pot of cash, this is how much I need to run every month, this is how much I need to spend now and again on consumables, oh I might need a bit of hardware, I might need a license, blah blah blah, all adds up. Seriously, go onto Excel and you could actually work out exactly when you run out of money. Because by the time you run out of money, that game better be made. Not only better it be made, it needs to be made and out 2 months ago. Because you won't get any money from the app stores for about 2 months, not that long. G-Cluster is going to take us 4 months to get any money, but we understand that up front. Xbox, it's about a month, 2.5 months. App Store tends to be 30 days after you put in your invoice. So you just got to work out, how much is this going to cost me? When am I going to run out of money? How are you going to handle cost overruns? That will happen. You'll need stuff that you can't do. You'll need a new license. A computer will break. So how are you going to handle that cost overrun? The easiest way is to have some slush money, a little bit of extra money that you don't even consider, and that will help out. Set for that, ask your parents, ask your friends who wants to sort of help you out. And the main thing is run lean. So just don't get in a position where this might happen. See it ahead of time. We've always got one more computer in our office than we actually need. So if somebody's computer breaks down, because this is what happened, one of the computers broke down about a year ago, we lost productivity for 2 days while we're getting a new computer. So it's not just the cost of the computer, it's the couple of £100 of stuff for a couple of days. So think about this ahead of time, how you can alleviate it. And the main thing is, what's your plan B? What's going to happen if things start to go wrong? You need plan B, C, D, E, as far as it goes. What else can you do? A couple of years ago, when Monkery weren't doing particularly well, I was already working out how to get extra money in by contracting. I'd never took those contracts on because you got more money in, but the point was, I worked out ahead of time that there were going to be problems, and I set things up so that we could alleviate them. So work out how you can do that. You know, you need to go and work at McDonald's for a while to earn a bit of money, put the game on pause. Do that, go and live with some friends, make it cheaper. And here's the big thing, and it's the big thing that we didn't do at the start, but now we really are starting to do. Don't think game, think product. You're selling a product. You really need to think, why would people buy what we're making? You're not just making a game for yourself, you're making a game for other people to buy, therefore it is a product. So how can you approach it from that point of view? Rather than just, I think it's fun, play this. You've got to make a game that people give you money for. Why would they give you money for it? Same way as if you go into a shop, why would you buy a certain bag or a phone? Because you like it and it does what you need. That's the way you've got to see, that's the way you've got to see your game. And that's why getting bugs fixed, getting feedback from people is so important. Because if you don't do that, they're not going to feel they've got value for money. they're never going to give you money again. And the markets really are saturated. They're absolutely saturated. App Store, I think, is 600 apps get added a day. It's ridiculous. Of that, I think about 150 are games. So if 150 games are coming out every single day, how are you going to stand out? You just got to try and work out ways to do it. 120 of those games are complete rubbish, and that's the problem. It's just full of rubbish, so how do you stand out? And this is why less saturated markets can be better. This is why we're doing console, because Xbox One has 150 games about on digital. So when we release, so we go for smaller markets. We're selling to less people, which is fine, but you've got a much better chance they're going to see it. So think of it that way. So we are in a golden age for self-publishing, but as Pitch tells you, the gravy train has absolutely left the station. You cannot release a game and expect to make money. 5 years ago, that was not true. 5 years ago, you could release a game and, for fun, a vanity game, and you would make money. You could make a decent amount of money. That's now changed completely. So if you actually want to make money in the games industry, you're going to have to consider the other things. You're going to have to consider the budget. You're going to have to think about your social media, your post-release support, how you're going to handle all the PR. We didn't even get into YouTubers. YouTubers have become the predominant force for people handling PR for games at the moment. If you haven't got YouTubers playing your game, you'll just fail. I mean, it's that simple. Weird thing is, this wasn't the case 2 years ago. It's happened in 2 years. Traditional PR doesn't work anymore. Guerrilla tactics, YouTubers do. So I could give this talk to you next year, something else would have changed, and I'd have to change it. I used to tell people 2 years ago that Twitter was the way to actually start to build your audience. I'd now say don't bother. That's sailed. Instagram, if you can use it now, is a very good way of doing things. There are others. Snapchat, we're still trying to work out how to use, but there'll be other systems as well. Facebook as well, pretty much done. I wouldn't even bother. So just try and work out how you can get your game to stand out. You can get your game to stand out, you can get some YouTubers that can get it, Pocket Gamer, Kotaku, you get them to start talking about the game, you've got a chance of actually selling some units and making some money. Really boring, but I thought I'd put it in. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. It's ridiculous. You've probably heard it all over before, but it's absolutely true. I mean, we've run our company 3 years now. All the areas where we've not done that, we really have problems. And the main thing is just know what you're getting into. Make sure you've got money to run. Money's not just going to appear. So as I said, do your budgets, work out what you can do. And that all seemed really, really scary, but don't let it put you off. I mean, the games industry is great, it's really good fun. I love it. I've got no plans of leaving it. I do other stuff, but predominantly I do games. If you really want to do it, walk into it with your eyes open. Don't just assume you'll make money. So know how much money you got, know your budget, blah, 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 work out your months. Go and work for someone, make a bit of money. Go and live with your parents to save money. There are things that you can do that allow you to get where you want to be. Don't just idly think that you can release a game, make money, because those sort of days are coming. And that's it. Any questions? Yeah.
How do you go about deciding what platforms to port to in which order?
We chose the easiest first. So Microsoft gave us 2 consoles, so we gave them first dibs, so we're releasing on Xbox first. Sony gave us the console, they're going to get second dibs. We were going to do Wii U initially, but we looked at sales figures for Wii U and they were pretty pitiful. So we just didn't bother. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually use, probably, I can say it, have you heard of Wales Interactive?
No.
Okay, we're probably going to get them to do our Wii U port. They're currently doing Coffin Dodgers. But what they'll do is they will take your game, if it's Unity, port it to Wii U, handle everything that needs to get handled, and then release it. So we'll probably do that. But on the whole, we won't go into really saturated markets. We had a go at mobile, we didn't like it, we're not going back. But what we're doing is we're taking our mobile game and then we're refactoring it so that it works much better on PC and console, and then we'll release it on PC and console. If you fail in one area, refactor it, work out how to sell it again. our first game didn't sell, we've refactored it, and we're going to try and sell it again. So, you know, if you've made something, try and work out other ways you can sell it. But also be sensible. If it's going to cost you a lot of money to release on a certain platform, and you don't have that money, go for something cheaper first. Build up your money, and then decide to approach them. Also speak to the platform holders. They might help you. You never know. It's worth a conversation.
Yep. How early would you start marketing your game? Because obviously if you start really early, there's the tendency people get sick of hearing about it, or...
I'd start day one.
Yeah.
Just straight. Usually we're doing a new game, new horror game, yeah? As soon as we had anything that was worth showing, we showed it. It went mental. It went absolutely mental. We never expected to. What we're not going to do is keep on releasing stuff because people will get bored. Once we get to a stage where there's really something worth showing next, release more. But if you're just doing little dribbles here and there, and you're not really showing massive amounts of progress, people will get bored. What they want to see is like big statements as you're going through. Going to shows can really help with that. So we can take our game and go to a show. Even with the build that we had before, we probably get a bit more press. But if you do your game in the dark, you've got less chance of actually getting known about it. So I've marketed a fair amount very, very early on. As soon as you've got something that looks good, it doesn't have to look good visually, but it plays well or has something interesting about it. Get something out there. I mean, Twitter, Facebook, they are good for that sort of thing. But yeah, PR as much as you can do. Yep.
In terms of PR, then do you kind of before or at the very beginning of the project decide on like a USP and then that all your PR is based around that, or is it a bit more kind of see what sticks?
We tend to know what the USP is very, very early on. So the one thing about design is we never design all our games 100%. Alright, it's pointless, basically. It's what we used to do 30 years ago when you thought games weren't that big. You could design them all. You can't anymore because things will change. So we tend to know our unique selling point very, very early on. With our current game, it's VR, horror, jump scares. So once you know your USP, spend some time actually making sure that you're going to deliver all those aspects and just, you know, hone on those things. It sounds ridiculous. You've got a much better chance of getting PR if your USPs can match what other games have done. We had a big problem on our first game because it's not like any other game. So how do you actually say, oh, it's like so-and-so? What is it? It's an arena shooter without guns. People don't understand what that means. Whereas our second game, you go, what is it? And you go, oh, it's a puzzle game. What's your third game? Oh, it's a horror jump scare game. So it sounds ridiculous, but if your USPs match other games, you can then say, it's a bit like that. If you find someone then that likes those sorts of games, you've got a much better chance that they're going to start talking about it. We got 60,000 hits on Kotaku because this one guy really, really liked scary horror games. We said just the right things to him, and he did a feature, and it just absolutely exploded. So, yeah, give the journalists what they want. Give them easy sound bites. I could do a whole other thing about how you deal with journalists, but yeah, sort of get your USP nailed very, very early.
How have you like retained those like extra followers you got from that explosion? Have you sort of kept in contact with the main YouTubers? Or?
Yeah, I mean we got about 60 YouTubers doing Let's Plays. I think the biggest one we got was about a couple of 100,000. So the main thing is make sure we follow them on Twitter. Followed every single one. We liked every single one of their videos. We now have a list in YouTube of everybody that we have. We tried to get in contact with the big ones, didn't bother with the small ones. But then when we release a new build, probably in the new year, unless we go dark, we will send it to all of them first. So what we'll do is we won't do mass general release, we'll send it to every single YouTuber that liked us first, even the small ones, and we go, you know, thank you very much for liking it before, we're giving it to you this ahead of time. So it's sort of like you're giving them something for free. It doesn't have to be money, it's guerrilla tactics. It's what can you do to get people to look at your game more. They think they're getting something better because they're getting this game before you release it. But all you're actually doing is just holding it back. But as well as that, if you can ever then speak to YouTubers, get their email addresses and start talking to them. Keep them in a big Excel file. Scott's seen our Excel file. We have an Excel file for everybody we ever talk to. So if we ever talk to them again, we can check the last time we talked to them what we talked about. It sounds ridiculous that somebody has to actually manage this, but it really helps. If you send a YouTuber the same message 2 weeks separated, they'll probably ignore you because you haven't done your research. You talked to them before, and then you talk to them again, they'll just completely blank you. But yeah, we have big lists of people, whether they be Twitter handles, email, YouTube accounts, whatever, and we try and keep up with them as much as possible. Also, anybody that you show your games to at companies, make a note of it. What if you forget the person that you spoke to at Sony 2 years ago about another game? When you're releasing a new game, you might want to get hold of them. Keep a list of all those names. Also, check to see they're still at the company, because occasionally they will move around. The head of acquisitions at Sony left, and he's now at Microsoft. That really bugged me up for about 2 months. I was trying to email him. But yeah, if you make conversations with people, try and keep up with them, but don't get in their face. So, you know, every couple of months, just drop them a line. Anybody? Yeah? Well, there you go. That's it.
Good on. Thank you very much.
Like I say, if you want to know any more sort of in-depth stuff, get hold of me and I'll pass it.